Today we're going to be talking about backyard airsoft. To start a backyard airsoft game, you really need three things: a suitable venue or location, a group of people to play with, and some spare equipment to lend out to people who may not bring what they need. That's really it, just those three things. So, let's start off talking about venue. When you're selecting a venue, there's a few things you should keep in mind. First, make sure it's a safe area that you have permission to be at. That means private property, no public parks or anything like that. Do not trespass or do any of that sort of stuff. It's not good and it gives a bad image to the sport, and we don't want that. So make sure you're always playing responsibly and in places that you are allowed to be. Usually that's friends' backyards or your backyard or something like that. If you live in an area without a whole lot of backyards, I don't know what to tell you. But just look around, because somebody's bound to have some spare trees laying around that they can let you run around.
It's fashion, man.
You're also going to want a location that has some cover in it, like trees or shrubs or bushes or anything. If it's a field, you can dig trenches or something like that, or you can build forts, any kind of thing that will give you a little bit of cover, because if you're just in a field, it gets kind of boring because there's not a whole lot of cover, there's not a whole lot of ways to maneuver, and, you know, it doesn't end up being a whole lot of fun. So make sure you have a little bit of cover in there just to spice things up. Building bunkers is pretty easy and it's fun to do, gives you a little bit of a workout, so I highly recommend building your own bunkers on your fields. It's a nice little thing that you can do. Builds team bonding too, so that's always excellent. Now, there's a lot of different game types that you can play. Capture the flag, search and destroy, team deathmatch, blah, 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 blah. Look around the internet, see a whole lot of different suggestions, scenarios. If you want to come up with operation-style gameplays, like storylines and stuff like that, that's always cool. It kind of energizes the people, and it gives you kind of a purpose that you don't get with a normal Saturday gameplay. It's fine to do, just go out there and shoot things, that's fun. But I also recommend having like an operational series where you have a storyline and you have two teams and you're going at it. That can add a lot of enjoyment to it. So, we're going to be starting our series on a lot of game types. We're going to go into them very shortly, so stay tuned for that. But also just look around. There's a whole lot of things on YouTube and other things on Google and everything. Google is your friend. So look around for game types you want to play and get inspired by your favorite games, Battlefield, Call of Duty, all that stuff. Great inspiration for an airsoft game. It'll take a little bit of trial and error to get the game type just right so that it's perfect and fun. But once you do, you're going to have a really great game, and you're probably going to gravitate towards one game. I know we gravitate towards Capture the Hobo. It's one of our favorites, and it's been one of our favorites for a while because it's unique and it's a lot of fun to play. A lot of shooting time combined with tacticalness. Really like that. So I highly recommend Capture the Hobo. Always be safe when you're playing backyard airsoft. You don't have the marshals around to officiate and make sure everyone's safe. So really drill it into people's heads that you have to have your eye protection on at all times when you're on the field. All times. And if someone who's not playing and doesn't have iPro on, call ceasefire. Make sure that everybody knows that they can call ceasefire at any time, and then the gameplay will stop. You have to stop when someone calls ceasefire. This is a basic rule of any type of firearms or guns or bows or anything. If you hear ceasefire or you see something unsafe, yell ceasefire, stop gameplay. Say better safe than sorry, because one bad incident can ruin everybody's experience, and we don't want that. So, make sure you're always safe and keeping an eye on everybody. If you see anything unsafe, tell somebody. And this doesn't matter if you're officiating the game, playing. If you see something unsafe, call it. Ceasefire. Make sure that gets fixed, because we don't want anyone getting hurt. It isn't worth it. It's just airsoft. Look. Also, make sure that everybody knows where the boundaries are, where it's okay to go and where it's not okay to go. That's very important to making sure that everybody has a safe time and doesn't go anywhere they're not supposed to. Because in the heat of the moment, it's hard to tell where the boundaries are. So if you have clearly defined boundaries, you will be able to figure it out, and people won't go wandering off or getting lost or anything like that. And the more you play at a location, the more familiar you'll get with it, and everybody will kind of know the rules. And the more times you play at it with a group of people, that group of people will be able to help the new people out when they finally get there. So the more you play there, the more people will know. Just make sure you clearly define those boundaries, just to keep everybody safe. Again, I reiterate, if someone else who's not playing walks into the area, call ceasefire, let them pass, give them as much time as they need. Don't interrupt their activity. If they're taking a walk, let them take a walk and don't play. Take a break.
It's all Joe's fault.
Always make sure you're courteous and kind to the people who come around. A lot of them might not be too thrilled that you're running around shooting things in camouflage near their houses. So make sure you're always courteous and kind, and don't swear loudly or anything like that. Keep it down, keep it very professional, and always be sure to keep the other people in mind. This also goes for the police. If you ever get involved with the police, make sure that you're always very courteous, kind, and respectful, and they will most likely be agreeable. The more defiant you are, the more likely you are to get locked up. So always treat people with respect and kindness and courteousness when you're out there playing.
Maybe some modeling.
Now, hit calling. It's very important to talk about this because without marshals, without game refs, in the backyard you can get kind of heated, and it's hard to tell when people are cheating and when they aren't. And yeah, it'll happen. Some people are going to cheat. But make sure that you really emphasize how important it is to treat airsoft as an honor sport, and that it's really important to call your hits, be respectful, and as long as you call your hits, everyone's going to have a great time. You have all day to play. It's not a big deal. Call your hits, and yeah, you'll be happy. If people don't call their hits, if you're calling them out, and you think that you agree that people are consistently not calling their hits, then tell them to sit down. I mean, it's probably not going to go over very well. But there's really not a great way to handle it without an independent third party there. So always give the other guy the benefit of the doubt. If you're shooting through a bush and he doesn't say you hit him, then you probably didn't. Just put some more BBs into him. Always give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't go yelling around yelling, "You're hit!" because that's annoying. Every time I hear someone doing that, it's like, come on. It's really annoying. Give them the benefit of the doubt, even if they are cheating. Don't let them get to you. Don't let them start a shouting match with you. It's pointless, and it really ruins the whole gameplay aspect. Deal with it the best you can and move on. There's really not a whole lot you can do. Just make sure that you really emphasize the importance of honesty within the game of airsoft, because it is an honor sport. There isn't an effective marking system or anything like that. So you do have to rely on people to be trustworthy. And if they're not trustworthy, then maybe you don't want to play with them. It's really as simple as that. So be trustworthy when you are playing and people want to play with you. It's really that simple. Also, great idea to have a bunch of loaner guns sitting around. If you don't have that, that's fine, but tell people to bring guns that they have and they don't mind lending out to people. Cheap guns, I know we have a couple Crossman RK-74s, whatever, lasted for years. They're starting to break now, unfortunately. But those are the go-to guns. I started out on one, so did a lot of the other new guys. A gun that you can give new people that is cheap. It's not a big deal if they break it. And it gives them a serviceable thing that they can play with for a first time, because that's really important. They don't need the fancy gear. Nobody really needs the fancy gear in the backyard. It's not a big deal.
Just walk away. Walk away.
As for the logistics of letting everybody know that there's a game and where it is, Facebook is a great option. You can create a group and get all the people you want in that group and then give them all the information within that group. Or you can pull our method, the SMS text message. Voodoo sends out a text message whenever we're going to play. I let him handle that pretty much. And yeah, you respond if you're going to go, or if you're not going to go, you can tell them that. Or if you want to bring friends, you can bring them and get them on the text list. Works really well. Facebook's also a good option. I don't have any experience with Twitter or any of that other stuff, so wouldn't know about that. But Facebook and text messaging are very good things for spreading the word about airsoft. Of course, word of mouth works too. Not bad. One of the things that I really like about backyard games that you don't get with operations is the one-on-one kind of battles. Backyard games, at most, it's probably going to be 10 versus 10, and that's a very small game compared to some of the battle hack operations, which can be 250 versus 250. So it really comes down to a lot of individual responsibility. If you are on your game, and all your teammates are on your game, then you're going to win. And if you aren't on your game, you're not going to win. It forces you to be a better airsofter. And it forces you to learn and adapt to different situations and apply different tactics. Because you're going to have to learn and you're going to have to face your enemy. You can't rely on the other 100 people on your team to do it. You have to do it and your teammates have to do it. And if you have to lead your team, you can step up and lead that team because there's really no one else there. They're small games and they're really intimate games that gives you a chance to bond with the people around you.
Yeah, study your airsoft tactics.
So thank you for watching this episode of Jolly Roger Airsoft. Make sure you subscribe if you want to check out all our upcoming videos. We have a lot of stuff coming down the pipe for Revelations. And we also have that series that I talked about earlier, what is it? Gameplay types. So we'll be bringing out gameplay types soon. Hopefully we'll have an apocalypto briefing, everything like that. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see all that. Stay tuned. Hope this helps give you some inspiration and guidance towards backyard airsofting. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, we have the comments box right down here. And yeah, I'll try to answer them best I can. That's all I got. Thank you for watching Jolly Roger Airsoft. Really appreciate it. Peace out.